Beloved of the Lord, in the mighty and matchless name of Jesus, today is Saturday, June 20, and I decree that every burden weighing on your heart is being lifted. Every storm disturbing your peace is being silenced, and the presence of God is about to fill your life in a fresh and powerful way. Before we begin, can I ask you a question? What is the one thing you are believing God to bring peace into today? This is not just another prayer session. This is a divine appointment with the Prince of Peace. Have you been carrying worries that nobody knows about? Have you been smiling on the outside while fighting silent battles on the inside? Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from today, and what area of your life needs God's peace the most? As we gather in faith, I believe God is preparing to replace anxiety with calm, confusion with clarity, and exhaustion with supernatural rest. Can you feel the Lord drawing you closer right now? Can you sense that He has not forgotten you and that His presence is surrounding you even in this very moment? If you believe God is about to do something powerful in your life today, type PACE in the comments and let your faith speak. Also, take a moment to like and share this prayer so someone else who needs God's comfort can join us. Are you ready to lay every burden at the feet of Jesus and step into His perfect peace today? Then stay with me, because I believe this Saturday will become a turning point filled with rest, restoration, and the overwhelming presence of God. Beloved, before we ask God for anything, we must first position our hearts to receive from Him. There is something powerful that happens when we enter His presence with thanksgiving instead of anxiety. Have you taken a moment today to thank God simply for who He is? Have you paused long enough to recognize how many times He has carried you through situations that should have broken you? Right now, I want you to shift your focus away from your problems and onto the greatness of God. The burdens may be real, the pressures may be intense, and the questions may still be unanswered, but God remains faithful. Can you remember a season when God made a way for you even when you could not see a way forward? Doesn't that same God deserve your praise today? Take a deep breath and recognize that you are standing in the presence of a loving Father. He is not distant from your struggles. He is not unaware of your tears. He sees every concern that has been weighing on your heart. Have you been carrying something so heavy that it has stolen your peace? Have you been trying to handle a burden that God never intended for you to carry alone? Today, we come before Him with gratitude. We thank Him for His goodness. We thank Him for His mercy. We thank Him for His protection over our lives. Even if everything has not worked out yet, there is still a reason to give thanks. Can you think of one blessing in your life right now that reminds you of God's faithfulness? Why not thank Him for it in this very moment? Thanksgiving changes the atmosphere around us. Gratitude shifts our perspective from what is missing to what God has already provided. Instead of focusing on closed doors, we begin to notice the doors He has opened. Instead of magnifying our fears, we magnify His power. Have you noticed how different your outlook becomes when you start counting your blessings? Have you experienced the peace that comes when you stop dwelling on problems and start focusing on God's promises? As we enter this time of prayer, let us surrender every concern into God's hands. Some of you have been carrying worries about your family. Others have concerns about finances, health, relationships, or decisions that need to be made. What burden have you been carrying recently? What situation have you been replaying over and over in your mind? God is inviting you to place it all before Him. Not part of it, not some of it, all of it. He already knows what you are facing, yet He still desires for you to bring it to Him. Have you been holding on to something because you feel like you need to control the outcome? What would happen if you fully trusted God with that situation today? There is freedom in surrender. Surrender does not mean giving up. It means giving God permission to take His rightful place as Lord over every area of your life. It means trusting that His wisdom is greater than yours. It means believing that His plans are better than anything you could create on your own. Is there an area of your life where God is asking you to trust Him more deeply? What would complete surrender look like for you right now? Many people want peace, but they do not want to release control. Yet peace often arrives when control is surrendered into God's hands. Have you ever noticed how exhausting it is to carry responsibilities that belong to God? Have you felt the weight of trying to solve everything on your own? Today is a day to release that weight. God is not asking you to figure everything out. He is asking you to trust Him. He is asking you to walk by faith and not by sight. Can you choose faith even when you cannot see the full picture? Can you trust God's character when circumstances seem uncertain? As you sit in God's presence, allow His love to surround you. His love is not based on your performance. His love is not dependent on your perfection. His love remains constant through every season of life. Have you fully embraced how deeply God loves you? Do you believe that His affection toward you remains unchanged even on your hardest days? Sometimes we become so focused on our responsibilities that we forget to simply enjoy God's presence. We rush from one task to another, one concern to another, and one challenge to another. Yet God is inviting us to slow down and spend time with Him. When was the last time you sat quietly in God's presence without rushing? When was the last time you simply rested in His love? His presence is a place of safety. His presence is a place of healing. His presence is a place where anxious thoughts begin to lose their power. Have you noticed how different you feel after spending time with God? Can you remember a moment when His presence brought peace to a troubled heart? As we surrender our worries, we also surrender our expectations. Sometimes we become attached to specific outcomes. We want God to move according to our timetable and our plans, yet God sees what we cannot see. Have you ever looked back and realized that God's delay was actually His protection? Have you ever discovered that His plan was better than the one you originally wanted? Today, release every expectation that is not aligned with God's will. Release every fear about the future. Release every unanswered question. God is already in tomorrow. He is already working behind the scenes. What fear about the future do you need to place in God's hands today? What concern has been keeping you awake at night? The more we trust God, the more room we create for His peace to fill our hearts. Peace is not found in having all the answers. Peace is found in knowing the one who holds all the answers. Do you believe that God is working even when you cannot see evidence of it? Can you trust that He is arranging things on your behalf right now? Thank Him for His faithfulness. Thank Him for His provision. Thank Him for His grace that has sustained you through every season. Look back over your life and consider how many times God has protected you from dangers you never even saw. Can you think of moments when God was working for you behind the scenes? Doesn't that give you confidence for the challenges you face today? As gratitude fills your heart, allow faith to rise within you. Faith and thanksgiving work together. When you remember what God has done, it becomes easier to trust Him for what He will do. What testimony from your past reminds you that God is still faithful? What victory can you celebrate today? The presence of God changes everything. It changes how we think. It changes how we respond. It changes how we view our circumstances. When God's presence fills a room, fear begins to lose its influence. When His presence fills a heart, peace begins to flourish. Are you ready to welcome God's presence into every area of your life today? Are there rooms in your heart that need to be fully surrendered to Him? Let every wall of resistance come down. Let every burden be laid at His feet. Let every anxious thought be surrendered to His care. God is inviting you into deeper trust, deeper peace, and deeper intimacy with Him. Can you feel Him drawing you closer right now? Are you willing to give Him everything that has been weighing on your heart today? Beloved, there are moments in life when anxiety tries to creep into the mind quietly. It does not always arrive with a loud announcement. Sometimes it slips in through unanswered questions, unexpected challenges, delayed breakthroughs, or concerns about the future. Have you ever found yourself worrying about something before the day even began? Have you ever noticed how quickly one fearful thought can multiply into many? Today, we confront every spirit of anxiety and fear with the authority that comes through faith in God. We refuse to allow fear to occupy a place that belongs to peace. We refuse to give anxiety permission to control our emotions, our decisions, or our outlook on life. Have there been situations recently that have caused your heart to feel unsettled? What has been trying to steal your peace lately? Fear often attempts to convince us that the worst-case scenario is inevitable. It whispers lies that make problems appear bigger than they really are. It magnifies uncertainty and minimizes faith. Have you ever caught yourself imagining outcomes that never actually happened? Have you noticed how fear can drain your energy even before anything has occurred? The enemy understands that if he can control your thoughts, he can influence your emotions. That is why the battlefield is often in the mind. Fear begins with a thought, but if it is not challenged, it can grow into worry, stress, and even discouragement. Have you been battling anxious thoughts recently? Are there concerns that keep replaying in your mind, no matter how hard you try to ignore them? Today, we choose to interrupt that cycle. We choose to replace fear with faith. We choose to replace panic with prayer. We choose to replace worry with trust in God's promises. What would change in your life if fear no longer dictated your decisions? How different would your days look if peace became stronger than anxiety? God never intended for his children to live under constant pressure. He did not create you to spend your days overwhelmed by fear. He created you to walk in confidence, knowing that he is with you. Do you believe that God is actively watching over your life right now? Can you trust that he sees every detail of your situation? Anxiety often comes from trying to carry tomorrow's burdens while still dealing with today's responsibilities. It causes us to worry about things that have not happened yet. It tempts us to solve problems that do not even exist. Have you ever spent hours worrying about something that never came to pass? How much peace could you recover if you released those imagined scenarios? As we pray today, we take authority over every anxious thought. We reject every lie that says you are alone. We reject every lie that says things will never improve. We reject every lie that tells you to give up hope. Have you heard those negative voices trying to speak into your life? Have you found yourself believing things that God never said about you? Fear wants you to focus on what could go wrong. Faith invites you to focus on what God can make right. Fear says there is no way through. Faith says God will create a way where none appears to exist. Which voice have you been listening to more often recently? Are you willing to exchange fear's predictions for God's promises? Many people carry hidden fears that nobody else knows about. Some fear failure, others fear rejection, some fear financial loss, others fear sickness, disappointment, loneliness, or uncertainty. Is there a specific fear that has been weighing heavily on your heart? What concern immediately comes to mind when you think about your greatest struggle right now? God already knows every fear you carry. He is not intimidated by your concerns. He is not surprised by your struggles. He invites you to bring them into his presence. Have you honestly talked to God about what scares you? Have you placed those fears into his hands, or have you been trying to manage them alone? Fear loses power when it is exposed to truth. The truth is that God remains sovereign. The truth is that he remains faithful. The truth is that his plans for you are greater than any obstacle standing before you. Can you remember a time when God brought you through something you thought would defeat you? Doesn't that testimony remind you of his faithfulness today? Sometimes anxiety disguises itself as responsibility. We tell ourselves that worrying is necessary because we care. Yet worry does not solve problems. Worry does not create breakthroughs. Worry does not strengthen faith. Have you noticed how exhausting constant worry can become? Has anxiety ever left you feeling emotionally drained and physically tired? Today, we release that burden. We choose peace over panic. We choose trust over tension. We choose faith over fear. What would happen if you stopped carrying responsibilities that belong to God? What would your life look like if you trusted Him with the outcomes? Fear often tries to convince us that we must have every answer before we move forward. Yet faith is often taking the next step without seeing the entire path. Have there been moments when God asked you to trust Him one step at a time? Looking back, can you see how He guided you even when the future seemed unclear? God's peace is not dependent on circumstances. It does not disappear when challenges arise. It remains available even in difficult seasons. Have you ever experienced a peace that made no sense considering what you were facing? Have you ever felt God's calm presence in the middle of a storm? That peace is available to you today. It is available right where you are. You do not have to earn it. You simply need to receive it through faith. Are you ready to let go of the stress you have been carrying? Are you willing to exchange your anxiety for God's peace? As we continue in prayer, let every fearful thought be replaced by God's truth. Let every anxious prediction be silenced by faith. Let every burden that has weighed on your heart be lifted. Can you picture yourself laying those concerns before God right now? Can you imagine what life would feel like without that constant weight? Some of you have spent so much time carrying anxiety that it has started to feel normal. Yet God did not design you to live under constant emotional pressure. He designed you to live with confidence in His care. Have you accepted stress as a permanent part of life? What if God is inviting you into a completely different way of living? Think about how much energy fear consumes. Think about how many opportunities are missed because fear convinces people to stay stuck. Think about how many dreams remain untouched because anxiety whispers that failure is inevitable. Has fear ever prevented you from taking a step that God was calling you to take? Are there opportunities waiting on the other side of your faith? Today, we make a decision to move forward. We refuse to remain trapped by fear. We refuse to allow anxiety to dictate our future. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. What areas of your life need that sound mind today? Where do you need God's peace to take control? Allow your heart to settle in the assurance that God is with you. He is before you, beside you, and behind you. Nothing catches Him off guard. Nothing surprises Him. Nothing is beyond His ability to handle. Does it comfort you to know that God already sees the solution before you even recognize the problem? Can you trust His wisdom more than your worries? Right now, choose to release every anxious thought. Release every fear about tomorrow. Release every concern about outcomes you cannot control. Release every burden that has been robbing you of peace. What is the first thing you need to surrender today? What fear are you ready to leave in God's hands as you continue to rest in His presence? Beloved, one of the greatest gifts God offers His children is supernatural rest. This is not merely physical rest that comes from sleeping through the night. This is a deeper rest that reaches the soul, calms the mind, strengthens the emotions, and renews the spirit. Have you been feeling tired beyond what sleep can fix? Have you noticed moments when your body is resting, but your mind is still racing? Many people are carrying invisible burdens every day. They smile in public while fighting battles in private. They continue moving forward while secretly feeling exhausted on the inside. Have you ever felt emotionally drained even after accomplishing everything on your schedule? Have you ever wondered why rest seems difficult even when you finally have time to slow down? God understands every weight you have been carrying. He sees the responsibilities, the pressures, the disappointments, and the silent struggles. Nothing about your situation is hidden from Him. Does it bring you comfort knowing that God fully understands what you are facing? Have you taken time recently to tell Him how you truly feel? Sometimes people become so accustomed to living under stress that they forget what peace feels like. Constant pressure becomes normal. Exhaustion becomes familiar. Yet God never intended for his children to live in a state of continual depletion. Have you accepted weariness as a normal part of life? What would change if you believed God wanted to restore your strength completely? Today, we invite God's refreshing presence into every weary area of our lives. We invite him to touch every place where discouragement has tried to settle. We invite him to renew what has become tired and worn. Is there an area of your life that feels depleted right now? What part of your journey needs God's refreshing touch the most? The soul becomes weary when it carries too many burdens for too long. Worry drains strength. Fear drains strength. Unresolved pain drains strength. Constant uncertainty drains strength. Have you been carrying concerns that have slowly worn down your peace? Are there emotional burdens you have been carrying longer than you should?